Hello and welcome to everyone joining us on our YouTube live channel. Tashidele, Mingyur Rinpoche, and John, the Turga Institute faculty, and our cohort members. We're so happy to have everyone with us for today's special teaching and meditation event, the Life of Gampopa, the Union of Study and Practice, brought to you by Turga Institute. My name is Kagyu, and I'm honored to be a host today. We are truly fortunate to be joined by Mingyur Rinpoche, the visionary behind Turga Institute, along with our special guest speaker, John Mckransky. In today's session, we'll hear a live teaching from Mingyur Rinpoche, followed by a scholarly reflection by John Mckransky, and a guided meditation led by Justin Kelly, all centered on how Gampopa's life beautifully illustrates the union of intellectual study and experiential practice. To begin, let's recite the refuge and bodhicitta prayers, followed by the four immeasurables. We'll chant them 3 times, twice in Tibetan and once in English. Sangye chedang choki chodam la jangshu badu dangi gyapsu chi dagi jinso ki pe sonam ki choda benche sangye upasho sangye chedang choki chodam la Jiangsu Badu Dagi Gyapsu Chi Dagi Jinso Gipe Sunambi Rola Benche Sangye Drupasho. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until enlightenment is achieved. May the merit of my generosity and other virtuous deeds lead to Buddhahood for the welfare of all beings. Semchen Tamche Devaram Ewe Gyurang Depar Gyuchi Dungadang Dugagi Gyurang Jawa Gyuchi Duget Home Pere Varapa Dami Jawa Gyuchi Yemin Chatani Dang Jawe Dangyom Shepola Nipa Gyuchi Semchen Tam Jere Wadam Ewe Gyurang Depa Gyuchi Dugadam Dugagi Gyurang Jawa Gyuchi Dugame Pere Varapadami Jawa Gyuchi Nevin Chatani Dam Jawe Dam Yom Chepola Nipa Gyuchi. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from society, free from suffering. May they dwell in that unity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. Now, I'd like to invite Justin Kelly, Co-Executive Director of Turga Institute, to offer a brief introduction to Gampopa and the theme of today's event, the Union of Study and Practice. Justin, over to you.
Thank you so much, Kaim. It's truly a joy to be here with all of you as we begin this special event dedicated to exploring the life and legacy of one of the most influential figures in Tibetan Buddhism, Gampopa Sonam Rinchen. And this gathering is more than just a historical reflection. It's really an invitation to encounter the living heart of this lineage that Gampopa helped establish, a lineage that continues to flow through the teachings of our guide today and visionary for the Turga Institute, Yongey Mingyur Rinpoche. Gampopa's story is truly remarkable. He began his life as a healer, a householder, and a husband, partner, like many of us. But the devastating loss of his wife and child awakened a deep renunciation in him, and he entered the path of monastic life. Rooted first in the Kadampa tradition, Gampopa brings together the careful ethical training and graduated path of Atisha's teachings with the profound and experiential instructions of the great yogi Milarepa. When he finally met Milarepa after an arduous search, Gampopa was already a seasoned practitioner, but something extraordinary happened in that encounter. Milarepa, who famously declined Gampopa's lavish offerings of gold and tea, instead offered to Gampopa a skull cup of wine. And this exchange is symbolic for an important moment in Gampopa's life, one in which Milarepa encouraged him to break through conceptuality and enter into the raw and unfiltered directness of the Vajrayana. This turning point reflects something essential. Gampopa embodied a rare synthesis. He remained a monastic, steeped in discipline, but he also became a master of Mahamudra. His integration of these streams became the foundation for what we know as the Kagyu lineage today. So today, as we turn toward Mingyur Rinpoche's teaching, we're entering a living tradition. Rinpoche embodies the very synthesis Gampopa established: deep monastic learning, fearless meditative experience, and a playful, compassionate heart. So whether you're encountering Gampopa for the first time or returning to his life and his teachings after many years with fresh eyes, I encourage you to listen not only with your intellect, but with your whole being. Gampopa's story isn't simply one of the past. It's a mirror for our own path right here, right now. So please join me in welcoming our beloved teacher and visionary for the Turgar Institute, Yongey Mingyur Rinpoche. Thank you so much, Rinpoche.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Justin and everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So today I would like to discuss about teaching about the Gampopa, which is one of the most influential teacher in the Tibetan Buddhism. So the Gampopa was like ordinary kind of like householder born in the Tibet, of course, and he kind of like go through like all the householder responsibility. Then he got married, and actually quite nice. The couple, the marriage went very well. And then after a certain level, his wife sick. And actually he learned Tibetan medicine. And he is a very well-known, very famous Tibetan doctor. And he tried best to use his skill to treat his wife. So no matter how he did, doesn't work. So she died. Then Gampopa has a big question about the life, What's the point of life? What is the meaning of life? So then actually he renounced like normal life, and he went to what we call Kadamba monastery. So he went to one of the kind of like monastic institute and learn a lot of all these what we call the different texts. So in Tibetan Buddhism, we discuss about the 5 main topics. So one is Abhidharma. So Abhidharma is the nature of the mind and the matters. Then we have this Pranja Paramita, which is the stage of the meditative experience. And then there's Vinaya, which is ethical conduct. And then there's the middle way, Madhyamaka. So Madhyamaka is Sanskrit word, is the discussion or the teaching about the emptiness. So main meaning of emptiness is to go beyond concept, but it doesn't mean you have to block the concept. So sky and the cloud. Sky is beyond everything, beyond cloud, beyond storm, but you can still have storm, right? And the storm cannot change nature of sky. So that's the Madhyamaka, the middle way. And then the last one is a valid cognition. So that is a lot of debate, like learning critical thinking, how to ask question about anything. You can ask question about the Buddha's teaching or nature of life or nature of phenomena. So sometime, maybe some of you might see the documentary that in the sometime in the monastery that these monks, nuns, they do debate, look like fighting, you know. So first time in Nepal, one of the monastery introduced this debate. Then all the local police came, you know. They thought there's a big fighting going on in this monastery. But then when they come, yeah, you know, it's very loud and debating, but everybody's smiling and like playing. You know, they are laughing, and the police was really confused. So, all this teaching, Gampopa received a lot of those teachings within the Kadamba tradition. And special, the Kadamba tradition main focus is about what we call mind training. And this mind training is based on loving kindness, compassion, and the bodhicitta. So bodhicitta meaning the kind of like most profound practice of loving kindness, compassion. So when the loving kindness, compassion become the greatest loving kindness, compassion, then what we call is bodhicitta. So bodhi meaning enlightened, citta meaning the heart or the mind, the heart of the enlightenment, the mind of the enlightenment. So then in the Kadamba tradition, there's like three things you have to do: the discipline, the morality, the vinaya, then the sutra that you learn all this, the words from the Buddha, and all these 5 texts, all this learning, all these teachings. Then related with that, what we call the meditation. The essence of all this teaching is samadhi. So samadhi is the special concentration, mindfulness meditation, awareness meditation. So a lot of practice of dhyanas, what we call nowadays, is quite famous around the world. The shamatha, vipassana. So shamatha is the samadhi. Then the number 3 is the wisdom, the learning all these texts. Then you had to have this question, the critical question, engaging with this question to ask the nature of the reality. So that is the what we call pranja, meaning wisdom, or sometimes what we call vipassana. So these 3 practices that Gampopa is doing, and Gampopa has so many meditative experiences, all these jhanas, like different state of meditation, mind become really peaceful, and not just peaceful, what we call mind become applicable and workable. So when you want to analyze, mind become very sharp, you can analyze. When you want to be, when you want to rest, mind can rest. So what we call Tang Do Sha De La Rawang Thoba. So Tang Do Sha De La Rawang Thoba, Tang meaning sending. If your mind analyze, you can do that. Do meaning kind of like walking around, so you can engage with everyday life things through the meditation. Also become pliable, walkable to do that. Ya meaning resting. If you want to rest your mind on the breathing, on any object, you can do that. De meaning still, like not doing anything, just being. So all this thing become master of that Gampopa. But still something is missing. Gampopa feel like these practice, I will not get my question, answer of my question. I need to make effort for many years of this practice. There must be something else, something more deeper practice, profound practice. So he's kind of like looking for different teachers, although he has so many teachers around there, receive many instructions, but he still have this question. So then one day he go out of that monastery, like in the Tibet, there's very famous what we call circumambulation, go around the campus. Everybody walk around, it's good for exercise also, good for spiritual practice, and sometimes good for chat, you can meet new people and talk about the business. It's like that time there's no television, so it's like entertainment to receive all this information is when you go around. So he went around, and then he saw there are 3 beggars that they were talking about something, and they said, "Oh, what is your wish?" One beggar said. So one said, "My wish is there is big sponsor is coming to this monastery, and that sponsor is offering special meal." So in that time, there's like some kind of vegetable with I don't know how to explain, but it's like Tibetan dish. And that meal, not just monastic members, all the beggars. Normally, sometimes people offer this monastic members and people around there, like beggars, those who don't have things to eat, they all invite normally. Sometimes they give this offering for everybody. So that sponsor offered that particular meal, and that include us. Then I can get the hot and this delicious meal. That is my wish. And another said, my wish is if I can become like king of the Tibet. So that's called Tizong de Zen or some like those kings. So then I can help not just that meal only. I can help all of you and entire Tibet and provide a wonderful meal or prosperity or something. And then third beggar said, both of your wish are very small, tiny. My wish is if I can meet the great realized master called Milarepa. So Milarepa is not that area, he's quite far from there. Then I can learn this wonderful lineage of teaching and become enlightened within one lifetime. That's my wish. Your wish are very small. And then as soon as Gampopa heard the name of Milarepa, he was so happy. Almost like he felt like he heard of that name before, and he felt like there's a deep connection to that person, whoever that is. And he thought, maybe this is the answer. I feel something missing. Maybe he can give me the answer. So then Gampopa decided to leave that monastery. But it was difficult because during those days, there's a lot of civil war happening in the Tibet, like fighting in between the different states of Tibet, and also a lot of how to say mugi. How to translate mugi? Justin, do you know? Or professor?
Yes, Rinpoche, you can say again. Muke?
Mugi is like hunger disease, almost like not enough food, then there's some kind of disease. Starving.
Famine, Rinpoche, we would likely say.
Yeah, something like
Famine.
that. Famine, yeah. It's kind of almost like disease. One, because you don't have food, after a certain level, you got that kind of disease. After that, even there's food, you cannot really eat. It's kind of like, so that is happening many places around that time. So then he asked that beggar, where is Milarepa? And the beggar gave him the rough direction of Milarepa, So then he just looked for Milarepa and he met some kind of business people, and he come together with them. And then Gampopa was sick, really, because of that cannot get food easily, and then there's kind of danger on the road. And finally he met Milarepa. So Milarepa was teaching someplace there, and he met, and then he was so happy. Finally he met Milarepa. And then first thing, so Gampopa is a bhikkhu, full like monk, or ordained monk. Milarepa is like what we call Repa. Repa is like not bhikkhu, like kind of not household also. It's kind of like yogi style. Milarepa wearing the white cloth, and it's kind of like a hermitage style. So Milarepa move one mountain to another mountain. So Milarepa give him wine. And the Gampopa thought, oh, I'm bhikkhu. Should I receive this wine? But he's great enlightened teacher. What should I do? So many questions. And Milarepa said, don't think too much. Don't lose with the conceptual mind. And then he suddenly thought, oh, maybe all whatever my bala yada thinking, he sees that and drink. So that is the really beginning of the big teaching to how to cutting through the conceptual mind. So then after that, Gampopa was with the Milarepa for almost 4 years, and received all the teachings of the Mahamudra lineage. So Mahamudra lineage comes from, original from India. The Milarepa's teacher, Marpa Lozawa, so the great translator. Lozawa meaning translator. So he went to India and received these teachings from his main guru, main teacher, Naropa, and Naropa's main guru, Delopa. So Delopa is really genius and learned at the beginning. But of course, at the beginning, Delopa is just like a cowherd, just looking after the cow, young boy. And it's really genius. So met so many great teachers, then really concentrated practice, achieved enlightenment, full enlightenment. And even after achieved fully enlightened, he looked for so many great teachers during those days in India. So what we call kabab. Kabab meaning it's like expertise. So the special lineage that you, whatever you train, whatever you learn, whatever your expertise, that particular transmission, that what we call kabab. So the four great lineage of the Buddha's teaching, of course, and that teaching together with what we call in Buddhism, there are three main lineage. Sometimes what we call yanas, foundational yana, which is based on the first teaching of Buddha, the foundational yana. So now normally we have like Theravada. In the Tibet, we have Sarvasivada. And in the ancient time, there are 18 Vadas. Now I think we have only 2 left. They all are died. The lineage is already gone. So the Tibetan Buddhism, we study and practice the Sarvasivada. And now Theravada is Sri Lanka and Burma, Thailand, Laos, so many places we have this Theravadan tradition. So foundational yana, so first teaching, the early teaching of the Buddha. Then what we call the second big teaching Buddha taught at the Rajgir in India, that Buddha main focus about the mind training, which is loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, the bodhicitta meaning the heart of the mind of the enlightenment. And then the emptiness teaching, how to go beyond concept, the teaching about how to go beyond concept. And this is what we call the great yana. So in Tibet, we have this we practice in Tibetan Buddhism. Of course, great yana is Kadamba is the main focus about the great yana, the Mahayana, sometimes what we call Mahayana. Great vehicle. And this lineage holder, there's a lot of in like Japan and China, and now a lot of South Korea, Vietnam, Taiwan, and many places, Southeast Asia, many places holding that lineage and focus. And the last teaching of Buddha, what we call Buddha taught individually. There's a very famous story that somewhere in the South India, one king called Indrabuddhi, and that king invited Buddha and asked Buddha, your teaching is wonderful. All this renunciation, all these things works for only monastic community or people who live their life and go to the mountain. But I'm king. I have to do responsibility for entire country. This teaching doesn't work for me. Teach me something new that I can practice together with my life and no need to renounce everything. So then Buddha began to teach Vajrayana teaching. So Vajrayana is the following main focus on the Vajrayanas, all the Tibetan Buddhism, so Vajrayana, and also now Mongolia and Bhutan. So many countries, they practice the Vajrayana. But in the Kagyu, the Mahamudra practice that Gampopa holds, these 3 yana together. Actually, all the Tibetan Buddhism kind of practice 3 yana together, but especially in the Kagyu, we practice 3 yana together. So Telopa, the great lineage master who received these teachings from 4 main lineage in that time, And all this comes together, then the name Kagyupa. Ka meaning kebab, meaning kind of like kebab, meaning not the food kebab, the lineage, expertise lineage. Pap meaning, ka meaning the expertise lineage, pap meaning kind of like transmit, kind of continued that together come to the Delopa. And Delopa teach everything to Naropa. And Naropa taught everything to Marpa. Marpa is the Tibetan who went to India, received these teachings from Naropa, and then many other great masters. Then Marpa has 4 main disciples. The most important disciple is Milarepa. So Milarepa is the teacher of the Gampopa. So then Gampopa taught all these teachings to the Milarepa almost within 4 years. Special, the Mahamudra teaching. So Mahamudra meaning the unity of emptiness and the luminous quality of the mind, union of emptiness and the luminosity, what we call. So our true nature is enlightened. So meaning everybody is Buddha. All of you are Buddha right now, right here. While you are listening this talk, you are Buddha also. Do you agree or not? And it feels like you're Buddha or not? Actually feels like terrible, right? Sometimes. Forget about the Buddha. What we have this low self-esteem. So we sometimes don't like ourselves. We hate ourselves. And then there's a lot of monkey mind. There's a lot of bala bala bala, yada yada yada, so many things in our mind. So all these are what we call obscuration. It's like storm in the sky, pollution or storm in the sky. And no matter how strong these storms, pollutions in the sky, it never changes the nature of sky. Sky is always pure, beyond, indestructible. You cannot pollute it. Sky cannot be polluted. Even though the word pollution comes, it comes in the sky, remain in the sky, and then dissolve into sky. You cannot shoot sky, you cannot burn sky. So we all have that inner sky, that beyondness, that emptiness. Yet that beyondness, emptiness is not vague, not nothing. So normally we think emptiness is like nothingness. Actually, emptiness is equal to fullness. Emptiness is completeness, wholesome. Emptiness it has all the enlightened qualities: awareness, love and compassion, wisdom, so on, so on. So tradition, what we call kayas and wisdoms, everything is there in the emptiness. So that unity, beyondness, and the lucidity or knowingness or awareness, consciousness, quality, whatever we call it, are inseparable. And these two qualities, there's no any particular location. It is everywhere and nowhere also. And it is unborn. There's not really cause and condition, because it is unborn and never going to die. So die because you're being born, right? So there's no birth, there's no death. So that is who we are. Our true nature. But then, of course, for us, we're getting old. I'm getting older now. When I see my pictures, 20 years and now, something a little bit changed. And I can feel that, sometimes my knees are not so much like before. I can hike Himalayan mountains easily, but now I need to really a little bit think about my body. So, old age. And as well as our minds, after a certain level, lose a little bit function. Who knows? We might have Alzheimer's disease. We might have lose memory. And we might change our temperament. So all these are there. Why is it happening? Because our true nature is beyond of all this, right? Beyond concept, beyond subject and object, and actually beyond time and the matter. Yet what we are experiencing all this. So that is what we call the main problem of all this is that clarity, that lucidity, luminous. And from that luminous then appear as like hologram or like dream. Like dream like this entire universe. My body, all of you, this internet today, laptop, whatever, the building, time, matter, subject, object, everything is like hologram, like dream. They are not nothing, of course, but they are not exist. Unity of not real and not exist together. So that is the Mahamudra. So mudra meaning empty and clarity. Maha meaning great. And the main meaning of all this is like great seal. So in the ancient time, when the kings and queen stamp seal on something, then nobody can go beyond that. So Mahamudra meaning the great seal. Seal of this unity of emptiness and clarity, that all phenomena are belong in that nature. Me, you, samsara, nirvana, everything. So that's the Mahamudra. So the main teaching of Gampopa is the Mahamudra teaching. And now, after receive all these teachings from Milarepa, and one night, Gampopa has very strange, funny dream. I will not go into that dream. And then Gampopa shared this dream to Milarepa. Milarepa said, okay, now time for you to go your home, near your hometown. You receive all the important teachings from me, and except one, only one thing you haven't received yet. Otherwise, you receive everything. The traditional example, what we call one vase has full of water and put to another vase, and that vase become full. So whatever in my vase, all this vase or vase, whatever you call it, right? Teaching, I transmit to you. You're full now, except one. So you go. Gampopa was very sad, So then he said, yeah, to learn detachment. So go home. And Milarepa escort Gampopa for some time. So come down from the mountain. And then there's a small river, river, that has a bridge. And Milarepa sit next to the bridge, there's a rock, on the rock. So Milarepa said, okay, now you go alone. So you receive everything except one teaching, remember? Otherwise, you have everything. So you go home and continue practice. And Gampopa say yes. And cross that bridge. And Gampopa really missed Milarepa. And he looked back again. And Milarepa waving the hand. And far away, he went far away. And then Milarepa said, come back again. So Gampopa was quite happy, come back. And Milarepa said, actually, I was thinking a lot that I should give you that final, last important teaching. I should teach you. So I changed my mind now. So I will teach you. Are you ready? And Gampopa said, yes, ready. Should I offering mandala, all this? No. So then what Milarepa did is, Milarepa showed his butt. So, Milarepa butt become like monkey butt because he sit too long on the rock. There's no really a good proper cushion. It's just in the mountains and sit. And Milarepa said, do you know why my butt become like a monkey butt? Because I practice. So now the most important teaching is practice. Because you receive all these things already. So go back and practice. So teaching finished. So that was really keep in the Gampopa's mind. Then he went back to his hometown. And then he met all the colleagues, all the Kadamba tradition, that mind training, the lineage holders. Kadamba tradition is from Atisha, the great another master who come to Tibet. So then they all asked, what did you learn? And he shared some, and they said, come to our community, and he stay in their community. And then everybody in the Kadamba tradition, they meditate a little bit, and they study a little bit, and they do some chantings, and then the pujas and discussions, all these things. And then Gampopa also try all these things. And slowly he lost meditation. He become a little bit lazy, and then he forget about the practice. Then he lost his meditation experience. So then one day he thought, actually, I lost with this spiritual materialism. So he left the monastery, went to the mountain, the Gampopa mountain, the mountain itself called Dakhla Gampo is like the name of the mountain. Then he really practiced, remember Milarepa's teaching, the practice. So then he achieved the direct realization of the Mahamudra. So what we call the nature of the mind, to experience the unity of emptiness and awareness or clarity, direct experience. Then he continued to practice and fully enlightened within one lifetime. Not really one lifetime, Gampopa. Milarepa achieved enlightenment within one lifetime. And Gampopa has a lot of, in the past, he also, what we call, he learned a lot in the past life also. But anyway, fully enlightened. Then he give this teaching. So normally what we call 4 dharmas of Gampopa, which is all these 3 lineage, like foundational vehicle, the great vehicle, and Vajra vehicle, all this teaching together in that 4 dharmas of Gampopa. So first 4 dharmas of Gampopa is mind training. Sorry, how does maybe Justin, how you say these words, 4 things?
Yes, Rinpoche. So please bless me that my mind may turn towards the Dharma.
First and second?
That the Dharma may become the path.
Third?
that the path may dispel delusion,
Last one.
and that delusion may dawn as wisdom.
Yeah, finish. So, my mind go toward to the Dharma is actually the essence of the first teaching of the Buddha. So, in the Mahamudra tradition, we have this foundational practice, what we call forethought. Forethought meaning first appreciate about the precious human life, then meditate on impermanent, everything changing. Then is the next is what we call the karma. Everything is interconnected, cause and condition. There's no single self that exists because everything cause and condition. Then last is suffering, dukkha. So practice of these things is the first dharma. Then second, the mind turn to the dharma, and dharma to become the path. So meaning begin with the refuge, then cultivate the bodhicitta. Then there's a like purification, accumulation, all this practice. That essence of the second vehicle, the great vehicle or the Mahayana. And so the now path become purification of delusion, meaning that the Vajrayana, the teaching about how to work with the conceptual mind and the body, the energy in the body, like what we call prana, bindu, nadi, the subtle body, wisdom body, and how to work with the conceptual mind, what we call creation stage. So working with the imagination level, transforming the conceptual mind, and also working with the subtle body. So these are the third dharma. And the last is the delusion are transformed into wisdom. So that is the nature of mind practice, the highest, most profound of the Vajrayana practice, the actual direct experience of the Mahamudra, to recognize the nature of the mind. So with these four dharmas, the Gampopa put all the entire teaching of the Buddha Dharma, what we call on one cushion. So you practice that three vehicle of entire Buddha Dharma on the one go, one cushion, the essence. So that's the lineage of the Mahamudra, and that particularly emphasized from the Gampopa tradition until now. So finish now the life of Gampopa and the teaching. And the Gampopa has so many disciples. So 4 great Kagyu lineage, 8 lesser Kagyu lineage. All this comes after the Gampopa. Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you for your precious teaching. It has beautifully illuminated how the integrated path exemplified by Gampopa can enrich our practice, offering a way to transform intellectual understanding into direct experience and genuine insight. And we deeply appreciate your wisdom and perspective on how this journey begins with cognitive understanding, deepens through experiential practice, and ultimately cutting through concepts and go beyond to manifest these insights in daily life for the benefit of all beings. Before we transition into a guided meditation led by Justin, let's take a moment to watch a short video that highlights Tsuga Institute's unique vision and its approach to cultivating the path of the scholar practitioner. Maria, would you kindly play the video?
Welcome to Tsuga Institute, where timeless Buddhist wisdom meets today's world. Discover how tradition and innovation come together in this transformative program. At the core of our program is Vajrayana Buddhism, an inspiring path of deep insight, powerful methods, and the potential for transformation. We begin with a clear and comprehensive journey through the three yanas, laying the foundation for the profound teachings of the Kagyu lineage. At Terga Institute, learning doesn't stop at intellectual understanding. We emphasize study and listening, meditation and experiential practice, as well as meaningful engagement with the world. Study directly with Mingyur Rinpoche, respected lineage holders, senior Khenpos from Terga Oseling, and leading international scholars. Knowledge comes alive when applied. That's why our approach is rooted in applied learning, practical, grounded, and experiential. Each step of the journey integrates view, meditation, and real-life application, moving from conceptual clarity to lived understanding. Take your learning deeper through our immersive in-person program at Mingyur Rinpoche's home monastery in Nepal. In this quiet, supportive setting, free from daily distractions, you'll have the space to fully immerse yourself in practice and study. We keep our learning community small, so you get the support and connection you need to truly thrive. Work closely with a dedicated mentor one-on-one, receiving personalized guidance from our expert faculty throughout your journey. We believe that true understanding leads to compassionate action, so we bring our insights into the world. Develop your own unique social impact project in a nurturing environment that supports your vision and voice. Thank you for joining us. At Terga Institute, we're building a global community of learners, practitioners, and change makers. We hope you'll be part of it.
Thank you, Ryan. And as you may have seen in our event announcement, Tsunma Kunsang Palmo was scheduled to lead today's guided meditation. However, due to a severe storm in Sikkim, where she is currently leading a meditation workshop, the entire town has lost power. The good news is Kunsang is safe and well, and we are fortunate to have Justin Kelly, Co-Executive Director of Terga Institute, stepping in to guide us through the meditation practice today. Let's now welcome Justin to lead us in a 10-minute meditation, and afterward we'll transition into a scholarly reflection with John Mckransky. Over to you, Justin.
Thank you so much, Kayim. We wish Kunsang well. So I invite you to assume that trusty meditation posture, that good friend of ours that we all know and love. And just check in, sitting with a straight back, but most critically in a relaxed posture, letting the mind be open, and just rest naturally for a few moments. And as you rest in awareness, bring Gampopa to mind. Hold him in your mind and generate a sense of appreciation for how he structured the teachings to benefit all future practitioners, just like us. And with this sense of appreciation and gratitude in our hearts, we'll reflect on these profound teachings known as the four dharmas of Gampopa. First, just listen to the words as I recite them again, as Rinpoche presented them. Please bless me that my mind may turn towards the Dharma, that the Dharma may become the path, that the path may dispel delusion, and that delusion may dawn as wisdom. And that first line, please bless me that my mind may turn towards the Dharma, the essence of the foundational vehicle. Take a few moments to feel that sense of longing, that quiet pull towards something deeper that Gampopa felt and we can touch into. Just rest in this sense of turning inward, turning towards something deeper. And next, the second line. Please grant your blessings that the Dharma may become the path, that everything we do may embody this deepest wish, this deepest intention of bodhicitta. Rest in this intention that we may be of benefit to others, that our actions may serve in their awakening. And then the third line, that the path may dispel delusion, that we may use the teachings and uproot delusion on the subtlest level, embracing our true nature. And then finally bringing to mind the fourth line, please grant your blessings that delusion may dawn as wisdom, that we may recognize that confusion, fear, even distraction itself is not separate from awareness, the essence of Mahamudra. And finally, letting go of the reflection and just letting the mind rest naturally for a few moments. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Justin. Before we invite John Mckransky to offer his scholarly reflection on today's topic, let me first share a brief introduction about John. John Mckransky, PhD, has been Associate Professor of Buddhism and Comparative Theology at Boston College, Senior Academic Advisor for the Center for Buddhist Studies at Rangjung Yeshe Institute in Nepal, Contemplative Fellow of the Mind and Life Institute, and President of the Society of Buddhist Christian Studies. John was also one of the leaders of a scholarly movement in the American Academy of Religion to establish a unit dedicated to Buddhist critical constructive reflection. John has published books and articles that focus on connections between devotion, compassion, and wisdom in Indian and Tibetan Buddhism, and on adapting Buddhist practices to meet contemporary minds. John, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Kayam. Thank you, Justin. And many thanks to Mingyur Rinpoche for his presence and teaching. I found it really deep. And I was told, pardon my voice also, I've just got a frog in my throat, but I was told my job really is to just try to listen deeply to Mingyur Rinpoche, see what that evokes in me and share from that. And I think the first thing I would say is, I'm just going to speak from my point of view as someone who's been trying to study Buddhism, both in the modern academy and also with a number of deeply kind of profound, I think, Tibetan Buddhist teachers, who's both been trying to study for many years and also trying to practice for many years, informed by those studies. And I'm just going to share from my personal perspective. The first thing I want to say is Buddhism can give the impression that it's mainly about a bunch of techniques to learn. And as I was listening deeply to Mingyur Rinpoche, I was struck again, as I have been many times in the process of learning and practice, that it actually begins with the power of being itself. That is, what brought Gampopa to Milarepa was the power of Milarepa's being, as Milarepa had learned to realize it and embody it. Let's say the power of the deep nature of mind itself, as Milarepa had been able to realize it and embodied it, so that the power of that deep nature of mind, or the power of being as such, was actually drawing Gampopa to it through Milarepa. The transmission and blessing was already happening before he even met him, just by hearing his name. Does that make any sense? That's kind of my experience of the tradition. But it's not just a general experience, it was also evoked by listening to Mingyur Rinpoche. The quality of his way of being. For me, at least, and again, I've just been asked to share personally, so I am. For me, the power of teaching and transmission has begun before the teacher even speaks. And it is happening as he's speaking. And that's the platform, actually, of all learning. And that's my understanding of actually what happened with the Buddha. It wasn't just that he had very clever teachings. It was the sheer power of his being that pulled people, that drew them, a kind of a longing to become close to that way of being. Ultimately, even to become one with that depth of being. Is that making any sense? It's not that you have to agree with this, but just it's kind of clear enough. So, so that's where a very deep part of what Mingyur Rinpoche just shared was that, well, Milarepa received all these lineages of teaching and transmission from his master Marpa, who had received them from these many teachers in India. And then Gampopa received all of that from Milarepa, combined with his Kadampa background and training. And the very heart of it all is the deep nature of mind, which is realized in what's called Mahamudra. The deep nature of mind that Milarepa embodied, which is what drew Gampopa to him. That was the heart of it all. Mingyur Rinpoche said, and I'm sort of trying to quote, may not be exact, but he said something like this: Milarepa taught all of this, all of these kinds of learning and transmission and teaching and practice to Gampopa, especially Mahamudra, which is the union of emptiness and luminosity, which is our true nature. which is already enlightened. Therefore, everyone here is already the Buddha. Do you feel that? Even if you don't feel it. That is who we are. This is our nature, but it is obscured. Obscured by habits of mind, habits of reaction, like storm or pollution in the sky. But that does not change the nature of the sky. The sky is always pure. As Mingyur Rinpoche is speaking, he's transmitting this knowledge because he's speaking from that knowledge. I mean, as I perceive what's happening here, he's actually speaking from that knowledge, not just thinking about it and figuring out what to say about it. In other words, that knowledge is speaking. The sky is always pure, even when there's pollution. We all have that inner sky of beyondness, emptiness. Rinpoche said, that's not just vague, and that is not just nothingness. Emptiness is completeness, wholeness, with all enlightened qualities. Awareness, love, compassion, wisdom, all the Buddhakayas, they're all there in this emptiness. This emptiness, that is what we are. That is our true nature. That is our very being. But our habits of mind obscure that. In our minds tend to identify with the latest thought, feeling, impression, and reaction that is dominant in our mind. So our mind is in the habit of identifying with whatever thought, feeling, and reaction is happening now, as if that thought and the associated feeling are what we are fully and all we are. And not just that, as if everybody else is only the corresponding thought of them and feeling about them. That is all they are. So of course we react from a very superficial level of mind almost constantly. And if we're observant and honest, almost constantly. That's the reactive level of consciousness, the pollution or cloudiness, as it were, that's obscuring the simplicity and purity of what we are. It's not so much that anything can really obscure it, it's that our minds tend to identify with what's obscuring it. Because what's obscuring the purity of our mind is also pure in its very nature. But our mind is not noticing that typically. So we need practices. And one whole way of thinking about practice, a very foundational way within Tibetan Buddhism, followed from Gampopa through all the traditions, is the four dharmas of Gampopa that Rinpoche summarized. Just keeping track of my time. Justin, what have I got till 11:20? It's 11:16 now.
11:25, John.
Okay. So there's no time to get into lots of details about the four dharmas of Gampopa, but one way of putting it is the way that they function is to provide ways of practicing, reflecting first with the four thoughts of perfect human rebirth and impermanence and karma and suffering. Those are ways of reflecting that can turn our orientation of mind in the direction of recognizing, like with perfect human rebirth, that there is a tremendous depth in us, a depth of being, and can stimulate our longing to really realize that. And the teachings of impermanence and karma and suffering can help reorient the mind so that instead of always wanting to fully identify with every narrow thought and feeling and reaction of self and others, the aspiration can arise in the mind to be free of being so caught up in all that, so that we could really turn our full attention to the deep nature of mind, to the pure mind that is our true nature and being. So those 4 modes of reflection in the first Dharma of Gampopa, may the mind turn to the Dharma, help reorient the mind in the direction of refuge and renunciation, a willingness, an urge actually to be freed from what's holding the mind back from its true depth and fullness of awareness and being. And then the second the second Dharma of Gampopa, may Dharma become the path, then deepening refuge, cultivation of bodhicitta, purification, and accumulation. Another way to put this is entering into modes of practice that decisively interrupt the superficial reactive ways of thinking and reacting that the mind has been caught up in, interrupting that by drawing on powerful qualities from the deep nature of our mind, of love and compassion and discernment and insight. And then comes the third Dharma of Gampopa, may the path dispel delusion. Then comes deepening power of drawing on these qualities and pure energies from the depth of our being and from our subtle body in such a way, and this is now becoming Vajrayana practice, creation stage, yoga, as Rinpoche referred to cut through the way the conceptual mind has been caught up in itself, endlessly reacting to such limited images of self and others, to cut through that and instead re-engage the conceptual mind itself through imagination toward deepening discernment of the pure powers and energies of reality itself, beyond our limited reactions, to draw out those powers in the creation stage, powers of awakening, of Buddhahood, as already given in the emptiness and lucidity of our very being. To own those powers of goodness, to become them more and more. And then comes the fourth Dharma, may delusion dawn as wisdom, and that's beyond any doing anymore. To let this deep nature of mind, this unity of basic space and clarity, emptiness and lucidity, to let it naturally and most deeply, profoundly heal all. So that even the caught upness in the mind, all the tendencies of delusion and reaction, are so deeply healed by recognition of the deep nature of our being, recognition of their deep nature. They simply spontaneously release upon arising. Our delusions themselves disclose their emptiness and luminosity even as they're arising, so that even delusion becomes profound Dharma teaching. And every aspect of our lives and world, this direction of deepening in practice by interrupting our reactive mind through the power of the deep nature of our mind, drawing on its qualities. can become the foundation for a different way of being with others and in everything we do, simply by reconnecting with the help of whatever practice we're engaging with the deep nature of our mind or its qualities, increasingly as refuge, making that the very foundation of our being. Relying on that, that's refuge. Nature, mind, and its qualities. And then from there, sensing the depth in us from which we can sense the depth in others and relate to that depth in them rather than all of our superficial impressions of each other. Speak to that depth in them from that depth in you. Evoke that depth in them. No matter what your location, no matter what your activity, as an educator, social worker, police person, counselor, therapist, business person, like King Indrabhuti requesting the Buddha for a teaching to help him as king in real life with real people all around. Knowing those people and beings in their depth, from your depth, but in order to be able to do that, which makes all of our activity more real, more effective, in order to be able to do that, we have to access our depth. And that requires help from someone who has already realized that depth. And that began with the Buddha, and that continues with Mingyur Rinpoche. So that's all I had to share. Hope that's of interest. Thank you all. It's a real opportunity to be with Mingyur Rinpoche and just receive that kind of transmission from him and with all of you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Really inspiring words. And I'm feeling quite blessed to be part of the Turgar Institute growing community. I think this event gives you a flavor of what we're up to. And John, your comments were so appropriate, right? We're aiming at blending these two wings, study and practice, with an eye towards how do we express it in the world. And we have an exemplar with us in Mingyur Rinpoche, and someone who's been so dedicated to the path for so long in John Mckransky, inviting us into that deep place of being. And so just in closing, I want to thank everyone for joining and say, we hope you become a part of our community. It'd be lovely to have you along in this process. And may Mingyur Rinpoche's teachings flourish for many years to come. So thank you all.
A heartfelt thank you to all our speakers and guests, Rinpoche, John, and Justin, for sharing such precious teachings, reflections, and a beautifully guided meditation today. We also extend our deep gratitude to the team members working behind the scenes. This event wouldn't have been possible without your dedicated effort. And of course, a big thank you to each and every one of you joining us from different time zones and places around the world. We wish you a wonderful day or night, wherever you are. May the auspicious causes and conditions come together for us to gather again soon, in celebration of the path of study and practice. Bye.
Buddham sharanam gacchami, Dhammam sharanam gacchami, Sangham sharanam gacchami, Buddham sharanam gacchami, Dhammam sharanam gacchami, Sharanam gacchami, Buddham sharanam gacchami, Dhammam sharanam राजकुमार जन्मी जङ्गलमा हुर्के दरबारमा मानिसलाई दुःखबाट मुक्ति पाउने ज्ञान दिन यो संसारमा मनको दागरी सररा सारा हटाउन जन्मे एउटा मान्छे यहाँ सिद्धार्थ गौतममा सिद्धार्थ गौतम सिद्धार्थ गौतम एक दिन एउटा रोगी देखी घुम्न जाँदा कुमारीले फेरि देखे अर्को दिन एउटा बुढो असहाय कहिले फेरि मुर्दाको अर्थी देखी राजकुमार सपना ठानी धन जन सारा त्याग गरे उनले दरबार मनको दागरी सररा सारा हटाउन जन्मे एउटा मान्छे यहाँ सिद्धार्थ गौतममा सिद्धार्थ गौतम सिद्धार्थ गौतम बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं